around if they're in the way. That's your call. So our first item on the agenda is the healthcare update. And on Monday, we're going to be recommending AMPS as our reference-based pricing vendor. We also met with folks from ELAP, which was another large, they had the capacity to help us, but we thought AMPS was a better fit for us. So, and their pricing was comparable. It was actually a little less. So that's who we were recommending. We are also recommending, especially in light of everything that our world turning upside down within the last month, that we keep our premium rates the same. That way, when any of the teachers are looking at the retirement incentive, they'll know that the rates are what they are right now. So next year, after we know what our savings is by using reference-based pricing, we may actually reduce them, but we've been holding them the same for several years. We did do a slight increase this year to help cover some of our overages, but we recommend that the rates stay the same. We also are recommending to try to have as little disruption to the employees, that we also go ahead and maintain Empower 3 for another year. And we are going to be putting an agreement on for Monday night for approval and monitoring them very closely. And we've already had conversations with them about tightening it up to make sure that we actually are saving money by using that, by using the Empower 3 model. We are also recommending that the premium share discussion be pushed out until next year, tabled until next year. Our open enrollment tentative dates are the last week of this month and the first week of May. And we are working with AMPS and with Trustmark, the new TPA, to develop employee education plans. We're looking at videos, we're looking at flyers, we're looking at Zoom meetings. We're developing various methods to get the word out about reference-based pricing and what they'll need to do. We're hoping that if things open up, if restrictions are lifted any in May and June, we may be able to do some possibly face-to-face, but we're not taking that for granted, and we are continuing to develop ways to communicate through mail, Skyward Employee Access, emails, through their supervisors, just trying to flood them with various ways to access that information. So that is a very heavy first slide. What questions do you have?
Can we talk?
Yes.
So we disagree with a lot of that because everybody at the school district still being paid as normal. I think we should still get rid of Empower 3. That cost us $150,000. And I disagree with a lot of it. And I think Eric does too. I don't know how everyone else feels, but the school district is still getting paid like they're still working. So I don't think that at this point we should go off the schedule that we had.
Yeah, why are we pushing out the premium share when nothing's changing for them? They're one of the only people getting paid their full salary right now.
That's actually not accurate. Everyone is getting paid their full salary, and the people in those compensation plans are the ones who are working every single day. And we're talking about a freeze in salaries. I can send you a list of the people. It covers 70, 75 or 80 people. And I can send you that list, and we can have further discussion about it.
They're still being paid, correct?
Correct, and they are working.
Right, but they're still being paid. The school district is like, this hasn't happened to them.
Pardon me?
Everybody that is employed by the school district is still being paid their normal wage, correct?
Correct, and they have computers they're actually rotating in and working in the offices or from home. Supervisors.
But why are we giving them any change? Why are we not staying on track with what we had already discussed?
I think we're probably getting confused with two different things. You know, we talk about
If
basically for next year, from what I understand, right, Camilla? You're looking at keeping the Empower 3 agreement, the premium share discussion, you know, open enrollment dates, you're letting us know those things, but you're telling us this, it's going on now because whatever's in place now is still in place, but you're also giving us this information as we go into the next school year. Is that correct?
if I may, with the transition to the reference-based healthcare, what we have done is we're trying to ensure that everything is as smooth as possible. We have made sure that people can keep their same doctor, their same family physician. So we have purchased that extra add-on to the network so that all the employees will still be able to go to Mainline Medical or whoever they wanted to go in the UPMC system. That helps move smoothly. The thing we're doing with Empower is we're changing it from the standpoint, if somebody signs up for Empower, we're not going to give them access to the UPMC doctor network. Their network will be Empower, and that way it'll be separate and it'll be costed out totally separate. They won't be able to, oh, I signed up for Empower, but I'm still going to go down to Mainline Medical and see Dr. somebody, so-and-so.
The last couple of finance meetings we had, though, Camilla gave us a chart and where the potential savings were. So this takes away some of those potential savings in her chart that she had given us.
It does. That's coming up. We have that chart updated at the end. And
Right, so what we had figured we're going to save is going away already.
that's,
And your theory on this is because of the virus that's going on, but yet everybody at the school district is still being paid exactly the same as if nothing happened.
but we don't know what's going on with their spouses maybe being unemployed. It's just a recommendation to try to have as little disruption in our plans as possible. But I can send you the list of the people that it will affect. And then we can put it to a vote on Monday night if we want to, or we can, well, we have to know Monday if we're going to do the open enrollment for the last week of this month.
Who made the recommendation on this?
I did. I recommended it originally as we were going into negotiations. And now that I've looked through some of the names and I see single moms with their kids on, and they make, some of them make less than $40,000. 20% is high. We could talk about 10%. We could talk about 5%, or we can leave it at 20. That's a board decision.
Hi, here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this reference-based pricing is going to have a big effect on employees. Every time the employees are going to be involved in that is if they're having negotiating a hospital, or so that's not going to be a big issue. And you're keeping it the same, but apparently going up is what I'm understanding. And Empower 3, I really have a problem with that. I believe the gentleman's name's Mike is one of the, he has a financial interest in Empower 3. And he also has an interest in our health. That bothers me. And the premium share, my goodness, every business premium share with their employees. As Ed said, our employees are being paid. So there is no real off on that here. It does kind of cause that we're looking at. So I have a problem with all of that, and why we need all this. When it's the same plan, I think we're going to have more doctors. And
All right. It's something the board can discuss. We can make a decision on. The reason we're looking at the premium share is the fact that I believe the board is looking at freezing salaries for all of the Act 93 and all the support staff who are in the compensation plans. So if we're gonna freeze salaries and then we're gonna hit them with a premium share, that's a double whammy to all those employees.
Well, it's a win. It should have happened a long time ago. And I'm sorry, 20% is not outrageous at all.
We'll leave it on and it'll be on for Monday night. Any other questions on that slide?
Can I just ask, if you're not speaking, can you mute yourself? Because it's causing an echo.
I don't know where I'm at on here. I can't.
Usually it's down along the bottom, I think.
Somehow I think it's
Sharon, in the upper left-hand corner is a little, if you hover over it on the right side, it says mute and unmute. That might help you.
Are you ready to move?
Can you turn your camera off? Haley, can you turn your camera off? We can minimize bandwidth and improve this.
Ready for the next slide?
Just real quick, we will have those on the agenda for Monday. Can you back it up one? Okay. I understand that we're maintaining the premium rates, which will primarily be impacting our retirees because that's the rate they pay through COBRA. The Empower agreement, we can talk about it further Monday. It's a question of the board. If the board wants to continue it or discontinue it. I'm going to recommend we continue it because of maintaining continuity with a big jump to the reference-based pricing. We have pretty much made the reference-based pricing as seamless as possible in maintaining their physician network, and likewise, they're not going to have to worry about balanced bills. As long as they make us aware of the balanced bill, they will not have any other financial commitment as long as they keep us posted if there's issues or if they receive balanced bills. Obviously, if they don't tell us about a balanced bill, they're going to have to pay it. So that's my input on the healthcare slide. Anybody have any questions for me?
No.
All right, you want to move it on one? Okay.
Okay. We have received 8 letters to date. We're expecting 6 to 7 more before the deadline of 4:30 that was approved at the last board meeting. Now that I know the names of the people and their exact salaries, I've updated the amount of savings or cost avoidance. On last month's, I had estimated at $450,000. It's actually with the group we have now, $423,000. But if we have a couple more that turn it in that we were unaware of or that we were not expecting, that will go up. So that's the update on the incentive. And
We have a call-in user that needs to identify themselves.
That was me trying to hear better, but I hung up.
Okay.
when does it expect them to take the retirement?
The last board meeting, the board extended the deadline to the 30th of April. As it sits right now, we feel pretty confident we're going to have 14, if not 15 takers. I understand that this is just taking their salary back to a step one salary, replacing the position. We've already talked about the fact that we're going to be eliminating 8 positions, which then will be eliminating salary and benefits for 8 positions, which is approximately $500,000.
Are we surprised that more people didn't take this?
I'm not. I would hope for more, but at the same
mean-
time, I felt
Laura was talking
we
about
had
it.
to
I
commit
thought
to it
George was gonna get
in order
back.
to get this many to take it.
I thought our numbers going into this were better than this.
Well, when we put this together, we figured we would probably get, we had 30 people who were eligible,
Right.
who were solidly eligible, and we figured we'd get about 14, 15. So it's about where we expected it to be. It could go higher, but we know right now that we've got 8 solid letters, and we have 6 to 7 other people who have very strongly said their letter is coming. If there's anyone out there who's a sleeper, that's news to us. I mean, I did have I had one employee who wanted to pursue the retirement incentive. They didn't have the years, they didn't have the age. And quite frankly, they were dealing with some performance issues, which was the reason they were trying to escape, for lack of a better word. And my answer to them was no. All in all, you're looking at about $900,000+ worth of savings between the positions we can eliminate and the savings top of the scale, the bottom scale. So it's pretty solid.
Chuck, this is Ron. Have we
Yes,
heard
Ron.
from any other neighboring districts, how their incentive is working?
I don't know of any other districts that are doing an incentive.
Holliesburg?
I don't know if Holliesburg was, I was unaware that they were doing an incentive.
Okay, thank you.
The thing that's driving the incentive is the number of people who fall within the window. We do not have a lot of people at the top of the scale, and that limits the number of people eligible to take the incentive. Okay, let's move on.
Hey, I have a quick question. I thought we had like 40 people at the top that might take this.
They qualified, they had 25 years and they were over 55. And I think there were 40 that fit into that. But you start looking at the people who were 55 or 56, and they've got a long way to go. And sometimes at that age, they have kids in college, and they're taking, with only 25 years of service, they're taking a penalty when they retire.
Okay.
They're not getting full retirement. So that's why I went through and looked at actual ages of the people, and with 25 years, that's where we came up with seemed like 14 pretty solid. And we do have a couple that are close to 55 and are just ready to go. They may have another career waiting, but 14 is what we expected. We were hoping for more, but expecting 14.
On your, on the list that you gave us deductions at the last finance committee, how much money do we think we would save off of this back then?
450.
Thanks.
All right.
At one of the last meetings, Mr. Francis had asked about extending the due date for real estate taxes, the district real estate taxes. I did some research on that. A couple things that we need to consider. Pennsylvania is we're not sure how their budget's going to come through, and whether we're going to be able to pass the budget, or they will pass the budget before the end of June, which historically has affected our funding in early July and August. We need to consider, as we are looking at extending due dates, what we look for as far as cash flow to carry us through that July, August, September timeframe if the state does not pass the budget. Couple considerations that neighboring districts and other people have considered when we're looking at extending due dates is requiring escrow companies to pay within the traditional schedule. So a good portion of our real estate taxes are held in people's mortgage payments. So we would do that. There are two different options. One is to extend the discount period. Our current discount period is in July and August. We could extend that for an additional 30 days to give people 30 more days to take advantage of the 2% discount that we offer on real estate taxes. Also extend the face period from the 1st of October through the end of December, and then the penalty phase we could take clear until the end of February of 2021. That's one set of options to kind of do that all as one package. Some other people are increasing the number of installment payments. So people aren't necessarily required to pay all of their real estate taxes at one time. They have the ability to split those taxes over anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Currently, we only offer a 3-month installment period. So we could extend that and allow people to pay their real estate taxes over with monthly installments for 6 months. One of the other things that came out on a PASBO webinar today is suggesting decreasing the penalty in the penalty phase. Currently, our penalty is 10%. So we could, if we extended the penalty, reduce the penalty amounts, those kind of things. So I wanted to throw that out to all of you for discussion, see where your thoughts are. On decreasing that penalty, we have to remember that we do pay the county 5% of all real estate taxes in the penalty phase.
Have we normally gotten a TAN at all? I don't remember doing it. Has that been done recently?
I didn't hear what he said. I'm sorry, Mr. Francis, I didn't understand.
Please repeat that, Dave.
Yeah. No, have we ever gotten a tax anticipation note in consideration of extending the deadlines for the taxes?
For the county?
No, this district. We used
To
to
my
get
knowledge,
tax-
we have never done a tax anticipation loan or note.
We used to do tax anticipation notes. I think maybe look at that as one of the as an option. And I like the options you have up with the extending the discount period and the penalty free, the face value period. So, but I'm just wondering if the tax anticipation note would be an option.
We can look into that.
And I apologize for the short notice. We are in the phase where we need to start printing our real estate dues. So is there a recommendation from the Finance Committee on real estate tax bills? Is there a recommendation from the Finance Committee about extending these due dates? It's completely within our jurisdiction to kind of set those timeframes as long as they're at least 60 days in each phase, and these, what I presented is.
Well, I agree with it. I don't know about anybody else.
I would agree with it.
I agree with it.
I agree.
We can put that on the agenda for Monday to set those dates. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I was going to just leave the installments at 3 installments. That will not require a reprogramming of our computer system. I mean, I know
I
that
agree.
that's a minute fact,
agree.
but that would do that.
That's fine.
Okay.
I agree.
The other thing that I wanted to update you on while we're on this slide is our delinquent real estate tax collections with the new company that we're at. Through the 8th of April, we collected $315,000 for them, which is about 101,000, almost 102,000 over what the county did in the prior year. So we're having good response to those collections. Any questions before I leave this slide?
Just hang on it for a second. Just a note to the board, we are not the only school district in Blair County that uses a collection agency. I believe that Spring Cove does, and so does Hollidaysburg. So it's not, I remember there was a lot of angst about us moving to a collection agency, but it's pretty much a practice that other districts are doing right around us.
Okay. This is the slide that kind of makes my stomach roll. We've been on various webinars with PSBA and PASBO over the last week and a half to 10 days regarding expectations with earned income tax, business privilege, mercantile tax, other kind of local revenue based on business shutdowns and all of the fallout from the COVID-19 virus. These are estimates and they change on a daily basis. The seminar that I was on last week with PSBA provided different information from the seminar I was on today with PASBO. But what they are projecting is earned income taxes. I'm projecting a 25% decrease in earned income tax revenue in our budget for the 2021 year, which equates to about 1.3 million. The PASBO seminar I was on today indicated that some of their experts are saying it could be only 4 to 6%, which would be approximately $322,000 in our earned income tax. So, I mean, there's $1 million worth of swing there, which is a lot. But if we look worst case scenario at that 1.3 million, the other thing that we're looking at is a decrease in business privilege and mercantile tax because of so many small businesses are being shut down. Many are going out of business completely. So we are projecting a 30% decrease in business privilege and mercantile tax, which is about $900,000. Now that we hope to pick up, 6 months into the 2021 year, but we're gonna take a pretty good hit from the get-go. The other thing that we're gonna have is a fallout in our interest income. We have about $26 million, $30 million in investments right at the minute. I had projected originally that we would have about 1.5% to 2% worth of interest earnings on that money. We're lucky if we can get 0.5% right now. So I am decreasing my earlier projections by about $545,000.
Wow.
The next one that we're getting hit with is the state is not having the extra funds that they had originally anticipated we would get. So the governor's budget presentation that he did in early March, we expected to get about $500,000 worth of additional state revenue. They are saying now that they expect that to be diverted to unemployment and other COVID-19 relief. So we've removed that from our budget. So the total of all those numbers that I just read, we're anticipating the revenues that we are budgeting in 2020 through 2021 are going to increase somewhere between 2.4 and $3.4 million.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So Camilla wants to give money away and then we're losing this money. I think that we still need to reconsider the first recommendation that we stay with what we're at.
And I think that Camilla said that we would put those recommendations on the agenda for a vote on the 20th.
That's correct.
Now, what gets me is that we were projected $500,000 from the governor, correct?
Yeah.
And we're not going to receive it, but we still have to pay personnel.
Yeah.
Now,
Is there any way that we could, I realize it needs money to be diverted to the problem, but we were told that money would be coming. Is there, should we go to our legislators and say what the heck's going on?
we're actually doing that, yes. But first off, that's the increase for next year.
Oh, that wasn't for this year?
That's not for this year. We're not losing any state funding for this year.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was.
But the projection is for next year. We also have, we don't have finalized numbers, but we have approximately $2.7 million in care funds. That's coming from the feds stimulus package. We have no parameters on how we can use that or what we're allowed to use that for at this point. But I know it's sitting there. So that's.
Excuse me, Chuck.
Depending on how fast the recovery is will depend on how much those two numbers don't zero each other out. So that's, I mean, again, typical budgeting season where we don't have, especially with this COVID-19, we just don't have answers because a lot of things are changing very, very quickly at the state level, state and federal level.
Hey, Chuck, I missed that. What are the feds giving us?
We are projected, the care funds, we're projected to receive 2.7 million. That's not a definite number. That is the number we received from Pedro Rivera of PDE. He's Secretary of Ed.
That's
an estimate projection.
And we can do what we want with that money.
I do not know what the parameters are for that money. We also have funds that we believe they took the SMART grant, which we had budgeted around, but we were hoping to receive the SMART grant. And they gave us they changed it around and they made some of that money available to us now. We'll know by Friday, but that is all aimed at connectivity. It's all aimed at getting kids so that they can go to school online if necessary. So we're not spending money we don't have, to put it mildly. So
are there any more federal grants or anything we could tap into right now?
Well, they did say that on the PASBO webinar today that PDE hasn't submitted the application to the feds for that CARES Act about what we would do and how it would be rolled out. It's 30 days. I think they're going to do it within 30 days. So we'll know more about that. But they did indicate that they expect that there will be more federal money, especially when you compare what this first round of CARES Act funding was compared to the recession in 2008. It's significantly lower than what the feds rolled out to try to stimulate the economy. So they said there is a good chance that there will be more federal money, but they don't know what it's going to look like.
So should we have somebody at the website, the Fed website every day looking at that?
We do, Dave. I'm going to the PASA daily briefings. We are hitting the PASBO and the PSBA briefings. I've been in email conversations with Lou Schmidt, Judy Ward, Jim Gregory. We're working the angles. When you ask the question about other government grants, we've done a full investigation of the grants that are available. The issue we have is certain kinds of grants that are available, we would have to partner with the city. And obviously the city doesn't want to use their grant clout with the state to help us. They're going to try to, they're not going to want to have us piggyback on their potential money, but we are looking into those options.
I wonder if it was reversed, if we could do it and the city had to piggyback on our money. Wonder if we'd let them piggyback. Don't you think we would?
I can guarantee you that they would definitely ask. My thing is, we have a call. In particular, I'm talking about, handicapped upgrades at Mansion. It's a DCED grant. It's economic development grant, but that all runs through the municipality. As we had tried to apply for it as a school, we couldn't get past the fact that we don't meet the requirements and the fact that we're not a municipality. We couldn't get through the waiver process. And in turn, we've contacted the city. We haven't gotten very far because, quite frankly, the COVID-19 has interrupted that process, but we'll go back to it.
Okay.
What about the Paycheck Protection Plan? Are you able to apply for that?
That's a small business loan.
Yes.
We being a government entity, we would not be eligible for that.
Okay.
Any other questions with this slide?
The only thing that I see is that it looks like the state is telling us, we'll provide funding for this year, pay people, keep everybody whole. But going into the future is the scary part. We don't know how long this is going to go on, in terms of holding back the economy and people not working. And it could be very devastating to our school budget, obviously.
Right.
$2 to $3 million revenue loss goes right towards our fund balance, and we're going to be making some real serious decisions here as we move forward.
And it is very scary. And it's, at this point, we don't really know, there's no end in sight.
The reality is we're already running on a string of budget cuts, and we've been working on cuts and working through the process. This is just putting extra strain on that.
Correct. And
When's our next executive session? We're gonna have an executive session soon?
Monday, there's an executive session.
Okay. How are we gonna do that?
Well, we had talked about anyone that wants to come in, actually come in person. If not, you can do it as we're doing tonight.
Is there any way for people to tap into an executive session? If we do this with.
No, we could do this and it's controlled. They put the necessary restrictions on it.
Okay.
They have to have a password to get on now.
Okay, that's good. Thanks. I was just curious.
The previous phone call was because we couldn't guarantee the privacy of the Zoom. Now we can.
Okay.
Next.
You're trying to get that box out of the screen. So here's the update. Sue's still trying to get that box out of the screen.
Let's bring it up again. See what you share your screen.
So here's the update of the summary slide from March. And you can see when we had the March 10th meeting, we were projecting a $4.4 million deficit with no tax increase. But with that projected loss of revenue of 3.4 million and some other updates that you'll see on the next slide, we're now looking at the potential of a $7.8 million deficit with no tax increase. And then you can see the other deficits based on a 3.8% increase or a 7.74% increase, or going to the max for the referendum exceptions.
Wow.
Question, Camille.
Yes,
This doesn't include the administrative stuff.
correct.
Okay.
I did not. Did you, is that what your intent was?
I emailed it to you. You can send it out to those.
I will do that.
In March, the last finance meeting, I went over the additional administrative cuts.
Hey, we can't hear you.
In March, sorry about that. We went over the additional administrative cuts. They are not reflected in this right now, and we will send those out to you.
Now, the COVID-19 adjustments and other updates, the $3.4 million, what is it?
Part of it is the 3.4 million that Sue showed on the revenue slide. And on the next slide, you can see the difference between what we presented in March and where we are in April. So the reference-based pricing with AMPS, actually they're projecting a $1.2 million savings. So I increased that. If the board approves not having a premium share, that was projected at 175,000. If the board approves it, then we have $175,000 more of potential savings. And the Empower 3, I had taken those two out. We took out the governor's proposed increases of 518,000 because everything consistently we are hearing that will not come through for next year. And then Sue's estimated loss of local revenue of 2.7. Can you get that to scroll down, or maybe that's just my, brings it to the 7.8 million, the difference between 4.4 and 7.8. And again, as she pointed out, things are changing daily from our revenue standpoint. And these are our best estimates as of today.
I guess I'm really, really confused why we would take out that premium share and the elimination of Empower 3 when our budget looks this horrific. I just don't get it. There's $1,000 in savings. We're saying, oh, our employees can't afford it. Well, our employees are being paid their full salary. You want to pass it on to the taxpayers who most of them aren't working. They've lost jobs. They may get cut, they may not. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I don't understand why you even want to do it.
We will have it on the agenda for Monday for the vote, and I'll make the change on here.
I have a question. How can we have it on the agenda when it's basically something that we've been negotiating with the union?
I agree.
You can't really put that on as an expenditure or a savings until the union would get through the negotiating process.
Oh, Frank,
This shouldn't have been brought up.
That's Act 93 only in that figure.
those are that is based for the people in a compensation.
Right, but-
That's not union.
But the union people will see that and expect the same.
I agree. This is wrong, just wrong.
I think we do the negotiating and then we look at this 175 and the 150, I understand, is basically for the SEAs who don't have that benefit, health benefit. Is that correct?
No, that's actually the amount we pay to Empower for the membership of the employees who have selected Empower. But we were finding that a lot of employees were not going through Empower as their primary care physician. And with Trustmark, we have put it into place where Trustmark will, and first of all, during open enrollment, if someone wants to be on Empower, they have to sign a letter saying that they will use Empower as their primary care physician. And if they don't, when Trustmark sees the claim from another provider, from a different family physician, they will deny it, and the employee will have to pay for it.
Right,
So
that just causes more confusion for everybody. Just eliminate it.
And is it even legal to do that?
Is it even what?
Legal?
If they are agreeing to that condition when they sign up, it's not healthcare, it's a membership.
Seems to me that one would be settled in the courts and it would go your way. I say
We'll
we
put
take it up.
that,
We were told it was a bad plan, it wasn't working, but now all of a sudden, it's been a 180 on that. I don't get it.
Well,
Right. A lot of things have got changed, and I'd like to know why, because we don't have a real explanation.
we've been in discussions with multiple daily discussions with the new TPA and the various reference-based pricing vendors, and have talked about other ways that we could try to have as smooth a transition for our employees while we still save money. But we will put both of those on for board vote on Monday, and it was a judgment call on my part, and I will take responsibility for it, and we'll put it back on.
How many employees utilize the Empower 3 for that 150?
I'm sorry.
How many employees utilize the Empower 3? You know, it's 150,000 divided by number of employees equal how much per person?
It actually used it.
I don't have that report with me, but I believe it's somewhere around 200.
$200 per employee?
200 employees.
200 employees use it. Okay.
But I have to look, I'll find out, I'll get the report, and I'll send you the information tomorrow.
I have a question on the GACTC healthcare. It says we're going to save $230,000, but we're going to pay an increase over there because their insurance is going up. Do we know what that will be?
Danielle is working on it, but I asked her for an update to their budget, and she is still working on it.
So
Couldn't even-
230,000 probably is not a true savings.
I
It's
won't
not-
know until we get her budget.
the GACTC's healthcare was compared to a Medicare plan with the amount of usage that they have over there. We were going to be seeing increases to us from the CTC regarding just being driven by their healthcare plan regarding.
So here's how I came up with that number. We have increased the amount of premium we charged them every year for the last 2 years to try to catch up with what their actual expenditures were that we were paying for, and their premiums weren't high enough. And it's always always been behind. And this $230,000 was the projection of what we're going to lose this year compared to what their premium, what they're paying us in a premium. So that's how I came up with the 230,000.
Right, but at the last VOTEC meeting, Eric told us that the healthcare is gonna more than triple or quadruple over there. So I'm sure that our share is going to go up.
Danielle did not give me any, she told me it was higher, but she didn't tell me how high it was.
Here's the thing with the healthcare. At least it's only 48% ours. Because before, as their healthcare was ballooning, it was all coming out of our pocket.
Yes, I understand that, but if it drastically goes up, I know we're gonna save money, but I don't think we're gonna save 230,000 is what I'm saying.
And I
That is-
believe you may be correct.
Right, that's not the net amount that we're saved. That is in 1 year what they've cost.
Right, that's an estimate of what we think we will save. The biggest thing that that's going to do is it affects our stop loss and everything else that we have insurance wise, because all of their liability impacts our ability to get the best possible negotiated price on some of these outlying insurances. So it's going to save us in the long run usage when it comes to stop loss and other kinds of insurance.
And I think this is just something that we'll have to see evolve. Is it going to save us? Is it going to cost us? I think we're trying to look at every way possible to save money. And this is one way that it's estimated we could, but the estimate may be wrong. I think we have to take a chance.
Exactly.
I agree.
So are there any other questions on this slide? Do you have any other questions on this slide?
I don't.
Our last slide is we were asked to compare remote instruction to in-school instruction. The biggest cost that we could identify as estimate as closely as possible and within a short period of time were the subs. And you can see there, we were out 128,000 in February. March, they were only in for 2 weeks. And then April, we will have no substitutes. And then our copier costs in February, copy costs were $18,000. March was 15,000. And then we're estimating for, based on usage so far, and then projecting that out for the rest of the month, that the cost will be approximately 6,500. So at this point, remote instruction is not costing us more than when we're normally in school. Any questions on that slide?
Maybe remote is the way to go.
I don't think it's that easy, Ed, but there is some savings at this point, yes. Is that the last slide? I'd like to show the board something, if I may. Because I'd like the board to see what we are doing with, oh, geez, whose is that? Okay. What I want to do is I want to show you the website that we're using for K6. I think you'll find that to be extremely illuminating to some of the quality work we're putting out, that we've been putting out online. Now, this is the cover for the website. And obviously, there's the big ad about elementary and Lex at-home learning lessons live. And then you have two bubbles. You have a bubble on your right, which is the message into COVID, which has all of our information. I'm going to come back to that one if I have time. and on the left, you have the elementary and Lex lessons at home. When you click on that bubble, it takes you to at-home learning, and it takes you to this page. And we have every grade, plus Title I, English language learners, speech, support, OT, PT, all of it's here. Certain specific teachers are in the scroll menu, people to access. And I just want to show you, fourth grade, just to get an idea. You go to fourth grade, the week's lessons are the top one in the row. So you click on this week's lessons, and it basically takes you to this page. And PDFs of all the information that the teachers have been going over, how to access units, what their instructions are, it's all there. Then there are activity boards, and basically what the activity board is it's a breakdown of the week's lessons. What's going to be taught and how to work through all the pieces. And then as we move further down, we get into videos. And for every day, for every class, there are 5 videos, one for every day of the week. And literally, when you click on the ELA for Monday, well, this is Monday's mini lesson, and this is presented by one of our teachers. So what you see is the teacher walks them through, takes them from previous learning, is going to apply it to the new learning, and is teaching, basically moving through our curriculum. So that's our process. And likewise, you've got math lessons. You've got every day of the week, you've got art lessons, counselor sessions, counselor video, library video, music video. You've got band lessons. You've got music videos for band and strings. You've got physical education. Pretty much got brick and mortar online, meaning that they're getting pretty much every subject that they get 5 days a week. They're getting some piece of that in an online version. So I think it's really strong how the teachers built this and put this together, and I just wanted to share it with the board. So if you have an hour and you want to just go on a search, I mean, if you go to that, you can really see some fantastic things that are going on for our kids. Teachers are basically teamed up and produced all the videos, making all that available. Patty, Haley.
And I think as a board member, I'm very proud of what I see happening in our school district. I know I read that Pittsburgh School District just started their online program this week. So we've been doing this now for several weeks, and we're way above the pack, and where we are with this. And commend everybody for their great work.
And what we're doing at this point, we had purchased computers for the 6th grade, the Chromebooks for the 6th grade for next year. What we are actually doing is we are going to get those deployed to the 6th grade next week, because it gets more tools into those homes. So if a 6th grader, and if they have younger siblings and then they need to access online, we'll be able to hit more kids and make sure more kids can access the online learning. So we're working through the pieces to try to make sure we're getting into as many homes and getting as many kids engaged as possible. Right now, I looked at Juniata. Juniata is 80% free and reduced lunch. Right now, 5% of their kids haven't come to school. That's huge. I mean, we have 30 kids out of 600 who we have had to send letters to, make phone calls to find out, what's happening and what we can do to get them to be in school. That's it. Okay. So that's what I have. Is there anything else, Camilla? That's what we have for the Finance Committee today. We know it's not good news. We don't know better than you do. We are going to send out the administrative cuts I talked about last month. Those are not reflected in the presentation today, but that's approximately another $900 and some thousand worth of.
Chuck, I have one more question.
Sure, go ahead, Kelly.
For the computers that we're issuing, are we going to offer them insurance like we do with the other kids?
We're doing everything we can.
Okay.
Our plan, Bryce would not let those things out of the building if he couldn't offer insurance with it. But
Yeah, we're going, Dr. P, we are putting those out there. That's part of our package for next week.
Thank you.
And one last thing. I think the committee needs to do a consensus vote here as to whether or not we want on the agenda the premium, the dividend copay and also the Empower.
I agree with that.
Agree to have it on the agenda or keep it off the agenda till we do the negotiating with the teachers.
Please unmute, folks, if you're going to. Sharon?
Well, I'm not really on the committee, but I don't think we should be voting on that, no.
Dave?
I can wait for negotiations.
But Ed and Eric, where do you guys stand on that? I agree.
I say wait till negotiations are over.
Yeah, I agree. Leave it off the agenda.
Okay, so are we going to?
But what I'm saying here is I think we should go ahead with the premium share. We had already decided to do that, and now it's been turned around. And Encompass, we don't need to put it on the agenda to have it voted on because we already had an agreement for the premium share and get rid of the Encompass.
The premium share that's on the agenda is not for the teaching staff. Is that correct?
No, it is only for the compensation plan non-union employees.
Right. We should go ahead with it, not the teachers.
Maybe put it on and then we'll vote it to make them pay the 20%.
We'll have to hold a beat discuss with Act 93, and that would come later. We would do that in May. And the question with the Empower is not part of the contract. It is something we put in there in an attempt to save money. Okay.
It's only cost us money. We've been told over and over, so I think it needs to go. Or
because the board voted to put it in place, the board would need to vote to remove it. We can put that on the agenda. That's not anything that was negotiated by the union.
Okay, then do we have to put it on the agenda to do the 20% copay for Act 93?
I believe if we're going to do the 20% copay, what we should do is a the Act 93 representatives and do that in May, and then vote on that in either the May meeting or in June.
We have to go for open enrollment. That's why.
The 20% premium share wouldn't have anything to do with open enrollment.
Yes, it does, because if there's a premium share and we have two spouses that work for the district, the one who's got the premium share is going to move over to the other spouse, and they can only do that during open enrollment.
Well, then I'd put it on the agenda and let us vote on it.
I guess
I've already had the questions from the.
Dave, you're for putting it on the agenda?
That's fine.
Okay, we'll put that on the agenda. Okay,
I don't think we have any other items on the finance committee agenda, so we could adjourn.
Just one thing, on this executive session for Monday.
yes.
Now, are you saying that whoever wants to come in can come in?
I'm going to be honest with everybody. For everyone's health, I would prefer we don't. But if people feel they need to come in and be physically in the room, I understand.
It's easier conversation if you're actually there. It's difficult to have a conversation like it's very difficult.
I
So
just
I
don't think meetings over the computer is very productive.
And I think everyone needs to make up their own mind if they want to commit. If they don't, then fine, we'll have it over the internet as well.
We will run a Zoom meeting on Monday. We are making hard copies we will be making hard copies of the agenda because not everybody has their computers, and quite frankly, we have not had a chance to get the computers out to the board and get everybody their logins on all those kinds of things. So I'm going to have hard copies delivered for the meeting. So anybody who stays home will have a hard copy of it, along with if they can go online and get it off board. Just want to try to make sure everybody has equal access to everything. Okay. Frank, if you're adjourning this meeting, there is another meeting that will occur at 7:30. I will probably be logging on to that meeting about 7:25, folks. Thanks.
Thank you. Everyone take
See
care.
you guys.